My name is Walter Noknechny, and I teach here at Farmington High School. And the name of the grant that I wrote was Project 2010 Probing Science. Kind of a play on words there. But the idea of the grant was to improve quantitative techniques so we can really get our kids doing the work of the discipline, actually immersing themselves in the science, which before was limited by very sloppy data collection. So nowadays we have these wonderful tools, these wonderful probes to get some really good, clean data. I'll give you an example. In the past, we do an enzymes experiment where one of the things we've been measuring at the end is a colored product, the formation of a colored product. And before, we would just have to simply quantify this by eye. It's getting darker, for example. And we had signed a series of checks and pluses to indicate that it's getting darker. Well, now with the colorimeters, we can actually trace the evolution of the product through time and actually get a nice kinetics curve and really do some sophisticated kinetics and enzymology with the new probes. So the idea is to take these probes and use them in a way that allows us to explore science much more deeply through inquiry, basically. Here's the colorimeter that I've just kind of highlighted. This is an instrument that allows us to essentially put a product in this chamber or reactant at an enzyme, and through the chemical reaction it turns a color, and this instrument's allowing us through absorption to measure the formation of a product. And that's a very typical enzymatic assay that people do in the lab all the time. It's just at a high school level it gets very difficult because some of the spectrophotometers can be very, very pricey. Other probes, we do some DNA work here. Now we're able to run and do real gel work. So we do a lab where we take the plasmid PBr322, which is the workhorse I'm sure most scientists are aware of, and we just chop it apart with simple restriction enzymes, and we have the kids backtrack what the plasmid map is going to be, where these restriction enzyme sites are on this circular plasmid. This tool allows us to visualize the DNA at the end. When you work with DNA, one of the downfalls is usually staining with ethidium bromide, which in high school wouldn't be a very wise thing to do because it's carcinogenic. Well, through this particular transilluminator, BlueView, we can use a special dye called SBRY, stain our gels, and it glows just like we're working with real ethidium bromide. So we're able to do real gel work and real DNA work in the lab, just like we're in any laboratory setting in the workplace. Okay, this one right here, this is the LabQuest, and it's a portable version of basically a computer. And it allows us to hook up any of these probes into this very portable, held in your palm with the stylus, and you're able to kind of work with the whole program here. So if we wanted to go out and go to the Farmington River, for example, across the street, and measure dissolved oxygen levels in the water and correlate that with the benthic macroinvertebrates that we have there, we can see what the dissolved oxygen correlation is with what type of insects live on the bottom. And we can take our instruments right out there and collect data and actually analyze the data right on the scene. And it's really durable. It's student-proof, as we say. So it really works really well. Notice that when we used to do this before these probes, the work that the kids would do really wasn't nearly as good as with these probes. I mean, they're able to get really into the data analysis. They're invested. They get very excited about it because they feel they've done something. They got something that they truly are measuring accurately, and the quality of their lab reports has gone up about 20%. We've had a number of students become very invested in the kind of data they collect, and actually kind of data snobs, in a way. They come back often and they repeat the experiments, which gives them kind of a sense of self-efficacy and confidence that they didn't have. But we're anticipating that, a sense of ownership, which is really nice. Analogy, I used to be very, very much into baseball, and I remember going every day to fields that were really sloppy and really terrible, and no one manicured the field at all. And you felt like you were less of a player. When you go to the professional fields where they're manicured and everything is not, you felt like you were part of the whole process. And I think students, when they come in here and they see a nice, well-organized lab with these, they feel part of that process, like they're playing on that manicured field. And as a result, they've raised the bar for themselves, automatically, to be honest. Simply put, I wanted them to get excited about science. And I honestly felt the best way to do that is to go through experimentation, through doing science. I mean, lecture is an important part of any course, can be run, but actually doing the work is the thing that inspired me to become a scientist. And I wanted to get them excited about how to do science. And frankly, before, with the very sloppy quantitative techniques, we're kind of handcuffed. We couldn't develop the excitement and the inquiry and the exploration that we really wanted to. With these tools, we're now able to kind of really treat them like junior scientists and have them write up their lab reports as peer-reviewed papers for, let's say, the Journal of Biological Chemistry. That's one of the formats we use. It's allowed us to really raise the bar significantly and ask them to do a lot more and get them a lot more excited. And to answer the second part of your question, it has worked tremendously, not just with the highest level kids, but with the lowest level kids. They get really excited about working technology that is really new to them. So it really has stimulated interest and excitement, and it really has. We've seen a dramatic improvement in a lot of things.